Introducing Spark. Spouses, parents, and children. Only here on Radyo Katipunan 87.9 FM. A program filled with real talk, life hacks, inspiring stories, and yes, even the fun and laughter that keep families strong. So tune in, light up your day, and let's celebrate what makes every family shine. Spark. Spouses, parents, and children. Only on Radyo Katipunan 87.9 FM. Your campus, your community, your spark of inspiration.
JustCom Music Ministry. Music that uplifts the soul. Follow JustCom PH on Spotify and JustCom Music on YouTube. We are also on iTunes and Deezer. To open our eyes and ears that we may see the face of Christ and hear His voice in our midst. For 28 years, Jesuit Communications has been promoting the Catholic faith and serving the nation through both traditional and new media. Hear us tackle national issues in light of Christian values on Usapang Kapatid, Pasakalye, and Radio Veritas. Watch our uplifting reflections on Kapet Pandasal and The Word Exposed, as well as our acclaimed TV specials. Listen to the inspiring and soothing music of Jesuit Music Ministry's original artists as you read our spiritually enriching books. To learn more about JustCom's mission of evangelization and education, follow us on YouTube, Facebook, and our website, justcom.ph. To give a face to the faceless and a voice to the voiceless, that we may recognize Christ in them and hear His story in theirs.
Radyo, 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 Katipunan. Radyo, 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 Katipunan. Radyo, 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 Katipunan. Radyo, radyo, Katipunan.
Coming up next, Wellness Wednesdays on Radyo Katipunan 87.9 FM.
Radyo Katipunan. Radyo, 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 radyo Katipunan. Radyo Katipunan. Radyo Katipunan.
Pagbabalitang tumpak at tama. Buhay at tenista, sa loob sa labas ng eskwela, ating ibibida lahat ng buwela. Radyo, 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 Katipunan. Radyo, 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 Katipunan. Radyo, radyo, Katipunan. Radyo, Katipunan. Kawal ni Ignacio, Katipunero, sugod, todo sa kayod, tulong at tulong, lipat na Blue Eagle, galing giting nagigil, blue and white, one big fight. Radyo, 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 Katipunan. Radyo, 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 Katipunan. Radyo, radyo, Katipunan.
We all want to live healthier in mind, body, and spirit. But where do we start? Sometimes, all it takes is a good conversation. Tune in to Wellness Wednesdays on Radyo Katipunan 87.9 FM. Together with experts, inspiring guests, and real stories, we explore tips you can actually use. From managing stress, to eating better, to finding balance in a busy world. Because here, we believe wellness isn't just about living longer, it's about living better. So join us, and let's make every Wednesday a step toward your healthiest self. Wellness Wednesdays, wellness that speaks to you. From the body, mind, to might. Every Wednesday on Radyo Katipunan 87.9 FM.
Hello, wellness seekers. Welcome back to another episode of Wellness Wednesdays, your midweek dose of balance and positivity.
Here on Radyo Katipunan 87.9 FM, we bring you wellness that speaks to you, from the body, mind to mic. Every week, we explore tips, conversations, and stories that help your mind, body, and spirit in harmony.
So sit back, take a deep breath, and join us as we dive into today's topic designed to keep you grounded and inspired. It's your psychotic goofy body nagbabalit at mukhang on the way to be a resident radio host. I'm Glenn from 4BS Psychology.
And it's your psychology buddy Ash, who's always on the dash but will never let you crash. I'm Ashley from 2AV Psychology.
And welcome to Wellness
Wednesday. You can catch our program live on Radyo Katipunan 87.9 FM via traditional radio if you are around Katipunan Avenue. We are also on audio streaming via Zeno.fm, Radio, RK 87.9 FM, and via live streaming on the Facebook and YouTube pages or Radyo Katipunan. And if you want updates about our program, do follow us on social media at Radyo Katipunan 87.9 FM on Facebook, X, Instagram, and TikTok.
Yeah, and quick recap, partner. Actually, we already introduced Radio Katipunan na the previous episode with Sir Boboy and Hiram. So if you haven't watched it, please go back to that episode. But to be honest, it feels surreal. But today's episode, I can say it's full of colors. And I heard it's full of pride as well.
Yes, because our guest today is one of the most inspiring and prominent professors in Ateneo's Psychology Department.
Yeah, and our theme for today is actually related to Ateneo's One Big Pride. So we already conducted it. I can't remember the date, guys. But yeah, so, and speaking of
Last
colors,
Saturday.
yes, what's your favorite color recently, partner? I wanna ask.
I think my favorite color right now is yellow.
Yellow? Why yellow?
I don't know. I just love the sun.
Love the sun.
Yeah.
Saka medyo brighty din eh.
Yeah.
Like a sunshine. Like
It's always rainy in the Philippines.
Yes,
We
it's
love a
always
little sun.
raining. Kahit nga ngayon, sobrang lakas ng ulan.
Exactly.
Yeah, but ask me what's my favorite color.
What is your favorite color? I'm guessing it starts with P, ends with ink.
Yeah, maybe you're right. Yeah, actually not pink, but for today, I feel a little bit of pink kasi parang it's so bright, it fits with the theme, so it complements with your yellow.
Oh,
O,
yes.
diba? Very pastel.
Sunshine and roses, guys.
Yeah, sunshine and roses actually. But speaking of colors, there's that one thing that we are certain. Color speaks power. And speaking of power, please let us introduce our guest today. So our today's guest is, he's a clinical consultant in Ateneo, Bulatao with a master's in clinical psychology. He also serves as the gender affirming services coordinator at the Ateneo Gender Hub. And now, he is an incoming training director of Ateneo, Bulatao. So let's welcome Sir Mibo Bores.
Good morning.
Yes.
Habang ako titingin dito. Okay, so good morning or good day to everyone. And thank you for having me.
Yes, Sir Mibo.
Parang colorful, tas naka-black ako. So, hopefully okay lang yun. Color din naman to.
Color din naman yan.
Okay.
Yeah, color has different meanings.
Yes. Okay.
So, Sir Mibo, thank you for your time. So, we're actually giving you the space to formally introduce yourself.
Okay. So how do I introduce myself? So I'm Mibo Boris. My pronouns are he, him. Just like nung sinabi nga nila Glenn and Ash, no? I'm part of the psychology department, also working with the University Gender Hub, and of course with the Ateneo Bulatao Center as well. So medyo maraming hats, but today maybe for this session, no, I'm like an advocate, no, for our LGBT or queer community.
Slay.
And we are very happy to have you here today, sir. And we'd just like to ask you a few questions, especially given your insights and your professionalism on this. So for our first question, to just set the context, what do you think is the current situation of the LGBT community today?
Okay. Medyo malalim siya na usapin, no? So, first of all, I want to say, no, when it comes to the current situation of the LGBT community, Of course, there's a lot of things that we have to do. Marami pang kailangan gawin, but at the same time, we're also grateful for some progress that we see. And baka isa-isahin ko, no? So dun sa marami pang kailangan gawin or things that we have to do, parang of course the advocacy spaces, no? Parang take for example, hindi pa rin napapasa yung SOGI bill. It has been more than 2 decades. Parang for the LGBT community, that's very, very important. No, because that's law that protects your right to exist. Not only the right to exist, but to exist safely, so that you can have opportunities in school, for your workplace, no, and so on and so forth. With the law din kasi, it also parang talks about accountability, no, na if you ever discriminate someone, alam mong hindi yan pwede at may consequences. So we need that eh. So another one is, we still need proper representation in media. Okay. Of course, may mga prominent figures na in media and we are very grateful, no. But parang kailangan pa ipalabas yung mga stories of the LGBT community. Okay. Another one is the prioritization of safety. You have to prioritize safety, no. Kasi take for example, marami pa rin na bibiktima or nakaka-experience ng victimization, especially transgender people. I attended the Trans-Pinay Summit, no, early September. And in that summit, we talk about maraming nabibiktima na to the point that they coined this term called transfemicide.
Called transfemicide.
Femicide. Kasi parang talagang experiences death, victimization. And some of them are not even reported. Okay? So maraming ganyan, no? And I don't know if you follow the news, no, going on globally. Parang of course, the LGBT community is a vulnerable minority group. But for some reason, nata-target yung trans people, no, especially if you follow the news in the West, talagang targeted talaga. And because of that, no, yung funding din ng mga CSO or civil service organization, NGOs that serve the LGBT community, nakat din yung funding nila. And of course, may epekto siya sa mga siblings natin from the LGBT that needs those services. Take for example, healthcare, 'di ba? Accessible counseling, no? Parang lahat 'yun nakat. And of course, kapag nakat 'yun, ang mangyayari, they're also at risk for a lot of physical illness, mental health challenges. Okay. So marami talaga, parang I can go on and on, no? But of course, parang we have a limited time, no? So dun yung marami pang kailangan gawin. But at the same time, as I mentioned, because of that naman, more and more organizations are forming. No, maybe we can start in Ateneo. Diba? We have the CGE, no? Commission on Gender Equality, CAS-MV, SWAN, and marami pang iba. No, and Ateneo Psyche, no, when I follow your Facebook parang page then, you're also advocating on your own way, which is very important. So, yun naman yung parang good side, no, parang mas maraming nabubuong groups, no. And outside naman sa Ateneo, madami din. Take for example, we have there, di ba, parang because of this organization, in Quezon City, we have the right to care card. I don't know if you heard about that, no? So yung right to care card, yes, no? Parang it gives you like a legitimate power, no, to decide for your partner in case of emergency. And because of other organization then, meron na ding transgender health, no, in Quezon City. No, ngayon pinupush naman yung simplified gender recognition bill or act, no, parang that act will allow trans people, no, to change their name and gender marker. So maraming nangyayari outside of Ateneo at marami din naman nangyayari inside Ateneo, no. So I'll stop there. Baka you have any question because again, I can go on, no, because for me this is a very important conversation to have.
Nevertheless, thank you for the insight.
Yeah, actually, because I think from that insight of Sir Mibo, yung sinasabi niya na we are just not existing, but we are existing safely. So, as much as there are problems or mga certain sort of oppression, especially towards certain communities, there's also a silver lining na ang dami nagpo-form ng organization. Meron pa ring movement.
Yes.
Yeah, so I think to set the context more, siguro Sir Mibo, many people still get confused talaga sa terms ng gender, sexuality, and gender expression, which are often used interchangeably minsan. So could you help us guide us on how to differentiate this?
Okay, no, very true, no. Maraming nalilito sa gender, sexuality, and gender expression. And maybe dito napapasok yung what we always teach in our gender sensitivity training, yung topic on SOGSC. No, parang siguro himayin natin yung SOGSC, no. So SOGSC stands for your sexual orientation, gender identity, gender expression, no, and sex characteristic. No, siguro unahin natin yung gender, no, gender identity. No, for us yung gender identity is your internal sense of gender. No, parang your gender identity doesn't have to match your sex assigned at birth. Diba? Take for example, someone will be born as a, let's say, as a female. And these are based from your genitalia, your sex chromosome, biological aspect of it. But we see, no, not only in research but also in lived experiences of people for decades now, that not everyone will align their gender identity with their sex assigned at birth. No, take for example, you can be born female, but then again, when you grow up, you learn more about yourself, you learn more about the world. No, parang you start identifying perhaps as a man. No, your sex characteristics says that you're a female, but the way you know yourself can be a man. So that's what we call the transgender man. No, and vice versa for trans women. Okay? So that's the gender identity. No, but meron din namang mga cisgender people. Pinanganak kang babae, you're born as female, but you also know yourself as female. So we call those people, no, cisgender people. So parang marami siya. Okay? So that's gender identity and your sex characteristics. Now, with gender expression, kung yung gender identity is how you know yourself internally, yung gender expression is how you want to express yourself externally. Diba? Take for example, kahit you identify as a woman, sometimes you dress quote-unquote more masculine.
Yeah.
Diba? You enjoy like baggy pants or like baggy shirt, but it doesn't make you less of a woman. It's just that that's where you are comfortable. Yes. No, parang iba-iba din. And of course, with sexuality or sexual orientation, parang it talks about to whom are you attracted to.
Okay.
Diba? It can be emotional attraction. Diba? Sexual attraction. Intellectual attraction. Okay. So, marami siya, no? But alam ko, sobrang ano siya, for a lot of people, it's actually complicated. Because, and very understandable for me, because we grew up in a society where ito lang yung tinuro sa atin, no? There's only a man and a woman. And not only that, na parang para siyang may automatic connection. Na if you're a man, you should behave like this. And if you're a man, you should only be attracted to women. So medyo diretso siya. And of course, for how many years, that's what we're used to. And it's also embedded in our family, parang practices, school, no, cultural. So kaya maraming nahihirapan intindihin, no? But parang andito siya at nangyayari siya. Okay, so for me, that's how I would differentiate them. No, I know it's confusing, no, but it takes time.
I think pwede na tayo magpa-quiz.
Ready?
Magiget na ako ng 1/4. Pero real certain. Kasi kahit man din ako personally, sometimes I get too confused na meron palang internalized and then externalized part of our gender.
Of course.
Na we are showing to the public. But but at the end of the day, it's our individuality. And it's our freedom to express ourselves.
Yes. And parang yung ganyang usapin, hindi lang siya sa gender, di ba? Take for example, you have a different persona sa bahay.
Yeah.
Kasi syempre, kailangan mo maging mabuting anak in front of your parents. But you're also different, di ba? Kapag nasa school ka, or minsan, iba din yung pagkakakilala mo sa sarili mo. But minsan, iba ka din gumalaw. Parang the human beings are complicated.
Complicated.
And there's a beauty in that. For me, yeah.
Thanks, sir. Thanks for the academic and kind of personal sharing. So, would you like to ask another question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, I found that really insightful, especially the fact that a lot of LGBT people do, in fact, live double lives. And how do you think that affects their well being? Because we live in a society that runs on a lot of policies that either go with them or against them. It can be very jarring and can be very disorienting. So, do you think there is something us as individuals, us as loved ones of people who are part of the LGBT community can do to, better let them, not live as, not live in a double life where they constantly have to switch between certain personalities? Like, isn't that a sort of dissonance that psychology itself goes against?
Yeah.
So what are your tips, you'd say?
Parang that's a very good question, Ash. No, parang it's true that a lot of people from the LGBT community or queer community would sometimes live quote unquote double life. No, and there's a good reason behind that, diba? Kasi first, natatakot sila. The people are scared to be discriminated, to experience violence, to not parang granted entry, to airport, and even in schools and classroom. So LGBT people would perform. No, I will perform straight. No, I will perform like a cisgender person, so that I can feel belong, I can get a good grade, para makapasok ako sa airport, kasi you have to present your ID, no? So, kailangan siya to prioritize safety. But then again, dahil kailangan siya, para mahirap din siya. Kasi imagine, you're not being true to yourself. Parang in each spaces that you belong to, parang may constant threat in your head. Will they accept me? Diba? If they find out who am I, maapektuhan ba yung grades ko? Diba? Baka hindi ako paliparin ng immigration officer. Mga ganyan, no? And so, mahirap siya. Kailangan siya in some spaces, pero napakahirap niya. And of course, that sometimes lead to mental health challenges. Diba? In my clinical practice, no, because I also see people from the LGBT community, this is also very common. And that leads to, of course, depression. Symptom parang anxiety, no, especially with the loss of proper support, no, and connection, no, and parang minsan dun din lumalabas yung internalized homophobia, no, na I have to perform, ayaw nila ako tanggapin, baka mali ako kasi ayaw nila but this is not a problem of the individual, it is actually a societal problem. And now that we're contextualizing it as a contextual societal problem, so yun nga sinabi ni Ash kanina, how do we help people from the LGBT community? Kasi if it's a societal problem, it is also the responsibility of society. No? Parang to help those unburdened by societal expectations. So what can we do? No? Parang just maybe really relating with people with respect, diba? And care. Parang for me, you don't need advanced degrees. No, you don't need any degrees. Just like being respectful. No? Parang, for me, that's the main foundation dapat.
Thank you so much, Sir Mibo.
And speaking of societal level, parang it's already embedded in how society perceived this specific community, diba?
Yeah.
So actually in Psyche, sir, we have this certain event called F the Stigma. And I think Ash can actually elaborate on that.
Okay.
So, F the Stigma is essentially an old event of Psyche where we would debunk misconceptions in psychology. So, today we're going to twist it a little and turn it into a segment for Wellness Wednesdays.
Okay.
Yeah, so
let's go.
for our next segment, sir, we know that LGBT community faces multiple stigmas. So, for you, what are the most common misconceptions the community continues to face?
Madami. No, parang,
Actually, totoo.
madami. First of all, parang a lot of people would say it's just a face. Diba? Parang that's very
Real.
common. Diba?
That's very real.
Parang, I don't know, parang tinatry ko kasi intindihin. Ano bang ibig sabihin ng it's just a face? Does it mean that we are changing?
Yeah.
If we are changing, it's true that we are really changing. No? But sometimes the change should hopefully happen within and not because of external pressure that you should change. No, parang hopefully there's a proper relationship between the internal and external. For a lot of people from the LGBT community, it's not a phase. Kasi people would say, nagka-come out lang sila adulthood. Oh, hindi ka naman ganyan nung bata ka, so it's just a phase.
Yeah.
But we fail to question, how come it's only now? Diba? Kasi if you look at the environment before, mas close-minded, no, mas hindi pinag-uusapan. So for me, sobrang grateful ako to young people. Parang you're gaining more confidence in owning your identity, and because of what you're doing, parang inspired din yung mga adult, no? And we're also very thankful for people who led the movement, no, especially here in the Philippines, no. Because of that, mas nagkakaroon tayo ng spaces where people can own their identities. So for me, marami siyang question, no. And another one is that parang LGBT people, especially gay people, are over-sexualized. No, na parang they're just here to do intimate things, no. Parang for me, no. Parang being gay is just a part of a gay person. No. And parang for me, the intimate parang relationship or sexual relationship, parang all people have that, no, one way or another. No. So hopefully we don't parang just see them because of their sexual orientation. Okay. Another one is that you're deviant or deviants daw sa society. Parang I wonder, what does that mean? Parang deviant kasi we don't parang align with societal.
We don't
Conform. But are we hurting anyone? Diba? When I take for example, we're just here. Are we hurting anyone? No. Or parang our existence ba just challenge the way you see world? And parang can we count that as deviance? No, but again, as I mentioned, human beings are more complex. No, at meron din, like, of course, there's stigma that a lot of people would assume that the LGBT community carries threat of violence. No, that because of the community, there's violence. No, parang for me, I need more evidence to support that claim because right now, if you look at research, not only in research but also lived experiences, it is actually LGBT people who would experience violence.
Yeah.
No,
parang to
be around. Meron din spreading of illness. No, parang galing daw sa LGBT HIV. Parang for me, no. If you look at data, no, hindi lang siya people from the community. Anyone who would have parang maybe unsafe practices parang is vulnerable to developing HIV. So whether you're part of the LGBT community or not. Okay, so I can go on and on with the list, but for me, those are the parang mas common na misconception when it comes to the lived experiences of the LGBT community.
And actually, hearing about it, parang bumabalik ako sa culture psych class na.
Wow, sino mo?
Yeah, culture psych. Because we recently talk about like gender issues, misconceptions.
Right.
And yun nga, parang yung sinasabi ni Sir Moy na parang it's just a pace. Parang sometimes medyo, ano siya, like hindi mo alam kung do this certain set of people try to deny it, or are they tolerant about it? Do they really accept it? Sometimes you would question things like that eh. Pero yun nga, in the society, I think we forgot to look na bakit nag-exist na ngayon lang sila nagka-come out. Like, what are the problems? What are the root causes of this situations kung bakit nangyayari siya ngayon?
Yes.
And given that, we have the science out, we have, all the factual information about these stigmas and why they're actually, a lot of them are myths.
Yeah.
So if, the science is there, if the information is there, if it is accessible and can be, just one click away with the rise of the internet, why do you think there's still so much stigma? What do you think are the influencing factors that, perpetuate this hate?
Okay. Very good question as well. No, of course, data is available. One click, search ka lang kahit AI or like Google. No, but of course, people would also have their own way of searching about things. No, parang it depends on your current beliefs and how open are you in different beliefs. No, parang pinag-aralan natin yung sa cog side, di ba? Parang may mga biases din tayo, no? And there's good reason behind that. No, parang babalik ako kasi in society talaga. So I always contextualize it to society. And of course, we grew up with the gender binary, di ba, concept. Gender binary means there's only a man and a woman. And again, it is embedded na in our family practices, cultural beliefs, parang in school, in our religion. So, kalat na siya. So, yun na yung nakagisnan. Doon na tayo sanay. And of course, it gives us a sense of stability and what to expect. No, parang this is how life is. No? And sometimes, when things are being challenged or being added to our knowledge, that create a certain sense of uncertainty. No, oh, okay, so may ganito pala. Hindi ko siya alam. And what does it mean to the things that I already know of? So for me, naiintindihan ko na medyo nakakagulat naman talaga. At may mga takot din surrounding and trying to understand. Okay? So that's one, like the gender binary and how it is embedded in our everyday practices. Parang for me, meron ding, kasi in the past, di ba, in psychology, lalo sa DSM, I don't know if you know about it, they included yung gender identity disorder. No? Parang kasama siya sa DSM, but they removed it noong 2013 na with the publication of DSM-5. So, naging debate siya. Kasi now, ang ginagawa ng mga in the debate, they would still use it. Kahit tinanggal na siya sa DSM, 'di ba? Na parang diagnostic statistical manual for mental health disorders. So tinanggal na siya because of many research going against it. So tinanggal na siya, but for some reason ginagamit pa rin siya. No, of course may mga medical discourse din. No, so parang ang daming root causes of why this stigma is still around. No, but of course there's also parang, of course, marami din naapektuhan ng religion, no? Parang we respect, no? Parang religiosity. No, I myself, no, would have my own spirituality and connection with religion. But there are also lived experiences that would have difficulty then. No, take for example, in one of the research that I wrote, parang one of the participants actually said, pinatalsik siya sa religion because he came out as part of the community. And that was a very crushing moment for him. Kasi sabi niya, this is so important to me. Like, I really want to serve. And just because of who I am, I can't do that anymore. No? So, marami siyang root causes talaga.
And sir, speaking of like societal level, diba, that we talked about, I think, can you say na yung identification or some sort of labeling can lead to discrimination? I mean, personally, since yung LGBTQIA plus community, it keeps growing and growing, diba? Ang dami nag-a-arise na gender, different sexuality. But some people kasi, when they label someone as parang, oh, I'm a trans, I'm a gay, I'm a female, I'm a something like this. So, could you say that some sort of labeling leads to a problem, or can it be a reinforcement of the stigma?
I see. Sige. So first, sige, let's talk about the labeling. Alam ko, parang mahaba talaga siya. Maybe I don't know na the other labels kasi, again, dumadami siya. Parang, for me, labeling is very important. Kasi if you look at research, and kahit hindi na nga research, kahit tanungin mo na lang yung kaibigan mo sigurong part of the community, they would always say that, I don't know how I realized I'm gay, I'm lesbian or trans. But I just know in the past, there's an uncomfortable feeling. Diba? Hindi ako komportable sa ganito, hindi ko alam to. So, may uncomfortable feeling ka, pero walang salita para dyan. So, when you label it, it makes sense. Diba? Parang somehow, for some people, labeling makes them feel free. That it is true, that it is happening. No, parang in psychology, 'di ba? Sometimes you say, name your emotions.
Yeah,
'di ba? Kasi, 'di ba? Pag you name your emotions, parang you can manage it better. That's what we learn in psychology, right? Parang for me, it's also the same when you try to label your experiences. 'Di ba? Kung labeling, oh, I'm gay or I'm lesbian. Okay, so it's true. No, when it comes to labeling then, it is also parang an act of agency kasi for me, that you're owning it. You're also telling people that people like us exist. Okay, so now, alam ko labeling leads to stereotype. Before I touch on to that, I want to say that labeling oneself should never be the problem. It's neither a problem or a source of a problem. Diba? Kasi it helps you, it helps you make sense of your experiences. Now, it becomes a problem because of how people perceive it. Diba? Parang ano ba yung mga ganitong identity na yan, hindi namin maintindihan, no? So parang, again, babalik ako. It's really a societal problem and should not be like a problem of the individual. Kasi for me, walang mali if you try to label your experiences, your identity, especially if it helps you make sense of who you are. Diba? Again, in psychology, we say that that's very important. Okay?
Yeah, the way we express our emotions, it's never a problem. But the way others perceive it, that becomes a problem. Na-find nila na parang, sometimes kasi yung mga issues na, yung mga trans daw, dapat hindi pumapasok sa yung mga certain bathrooms in the public because it leads to assault to other straight people. And for me, hearing about it, medyo parang, hala, grabe naman ang stigma. Ganto kalala na yung stigma to the point na nakakaroon ng mga ganong discussion at discourse.
Yeah. So for me, opportunity din yan for more discussion, diba, conversation. Kasi alam ko, hindi siya madaling intindihin din. No? Parang kasi it challenges our beliefs, yung mga nakasanayan na natin. So I would like to also recognize that. Now, hopefully, there are more conversations, discussion where people can ask questions, maybe to learn more, and hopefully more openness as well.
And speaking of becoming more open, so let's open ourselves to debunk the misconceptions. We prepare certain statements, so you can pick, sir, and debunk the statement if it's myth or a fact, and kindly explain why. Yes.
So basically, we don't have a mystery box, today. It mysteriously disappeared, unfortunately.
Mystery box nga.
Yes.
Okay.
So we are going to make do with our mystery pamphlets, I'm just gonna mix them up a little. So you just, as Glenn said, you just have to pick one and debunk any of those misconceptions. So when you're ready, we're ready.
Okay. Mystery din naman sila because of this. So do I read it?
Yes.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so mental health problems in the LGBT community will disappear once society fully accept them. Okay, so parang people across community are complex, di ba?
Yes.
Parang, of course, I would say it will significantly lessen mental health problems, no? But I'm not sure if it will fully eradicate mental health problems. Kasi dito papasok yung intersectionality. Diba? For example, there are LGBT people from low socioeconomic status. And sometimes if you are disadvantaged economically, that also affects your mental health. Diba? Your mental health. Take for example, fully accepting pero may ibang problema sa pamilya. Diba, may ibang problema sa mga kaibigan, that could also lead to mental health difficulties. But if society fully accept LGBT community, that would lead to a significant decrease. Kasi kapag ganon, hindi ka na matatakot, no? Hindi ka na matatakot maging sino ka. Hindi mo na alalahanin kung yung teacher mo ba i-misgender ka. Hindi mo na alalahanin kung masasaktan ka ba if you go to the comfort room. No, or if pupunta ka sa ganitong lugar, kasi you know that people accept you, and not only the safety but the feeling seen, diba? Parang kita ka na, you don't feel invincible anymore kahit buhay ka pa, ganon, no? Right now, people can see you as who you are. So for me, that could really lead to increase of mental health parang well-being, no, in the LGBT community.
Yeah, and I love citing this, but guys,
Go
mental
ahead.
health is some sort of psychosocial spiritual approach.
Okay.
In a sense, that's our thesis. Pero it's not just in the societal level, but kasi sometimes yung environment that we are in,
That's
the way we
very
are
true.
nurtured,
Yes.
yung biologically how we accept things, sometimes it interplays with the
Yes.
mental health. Pero I would also agree na it's gonna be significantly decrease the mental health problems for sure.
Yeah.
So
One more?
you like
Yeah.
to put pick one more.
Okay.
mga tumors. Charot.
We love debunking misconceptions here.
Okay, ito. Conversion therapy is real and helpful.
Actually.
So I would start with conversion therapy is real in a sense that some people do it. Okay? But I disagree with it is helpful. Okay? Again, go back to research. No, a lot of research would say it actually leads to more harm because you're actually pushing someone to be someone else. And not only, parang sometimes in a very aggressive manner. No. Again, parang it's not true. If you look at research, if not research, siguro live experiences. Diba? For example, kahit hindi ka part of the LGBT community, if I tell you, hindi pwedeng yung kung sino ka, be this person. Diba parang that's disorienting for you na, what do you mean? But this is who I am. And with conversion therapy then, it places the problem on the person. You're the problem, that's why you have to change. No? So for me, it is real in a sense that some people still do it for maybe their own benefit, but I do disagree with the statement that it is helpful.
Okay, sir. Thanks for that. So, I think one more.
One more?
Parang medyo interesting ang mga debunking of misconceptions.
Sige. Isa pa.
Katipunan is learning a lot today.
Yeah.
Hopefully, no?
Hopefully.
Here. So, allowing transgender people to use the restroom that matches their gender identity put others at risk of assault. So, medyo mainit to na debate kasi
Medyo
for
mainit to.
for a lot of conversation. Parang, for me, I would always go back to the evidence, okay, the research. Actually, if you look at research, there's no evidence that trans-inclusive restroom parang leads to increase of assault. Take, for example, there's a research done in UCLA, no, parang Williams Institute study, parang they look at jurisdiction or states with inclusive restroom policy. And what they found is that there's no increase of assault, voyeurism, or harassment in restroom or locker rooms. No? Parang, so that's one. And next actually is that trans people are actually the one at risk. No, in violence that happens in the comfort room. Hindi na ako lalayo sa West, but if babad kayo sa Facebook, makita mo yon. Maraming issues na, for example, trans people pinapalaya sa restroom kasi nagsi-CR lang naman, tumitingin sa salamin, pero papalayasin. No, and sometimes in a very aggressive way. No, so they experience, diba, harassment and so on and so forth. No, so kaya some trans people, and hindi to alam ng marami, natatakot na sila gumamit ng CR, especially public CR. So I met a lot of people in my clinical practice and advocacy spaces, nagkaka-UTI kasi for them titiisin ko yung parang ihi ko kasi public space to, and kapag nagpunta ako CR baka palayasin ako, tingnan ako ng masama. So titiisin ko. Hindi lang titiisin yung iba, hindi ako kakain, hindi ako iinom ng tubig. Kasi para hindi ako mag-CR. And of course, that leads to not only mental health difficulties, but also physical. So for me, inclusive policies when it comes to the restroom use, parang actually protect a vulnerable group rather than harm or threaten others. No. And actually, yung statement then na put people at risk, it is also us positioning trans people as risk. And that for me is a stereotype. That's a bias. Kasi again, for me, this is unsupported by data. Not only maybe research, but also lived experiences. So for me, that's a stereotype. Kasi for me, parang if there are problems in terms of safety, let's say harassment, no, whether you are trans or not, parang that's wrong. No, that should not happen. No, so ibang usapan din naman yun.
Yeah, and actually that's a sad reality happening towards like, the contemporary issues today. That's why we have to debunk these misconceptions, do more academic research, provide more research backgrounds or inclusive policy, and at the same time, siguro allowing more discourse to happen para magkaroon ng more inclusive information to everyone.
And with the debunking of misconceptions, of course, comes the reality of everyone's mental health, specifically in this segment today, the LGBT community. So with that, studies show that LGBT communities, because of stigma and discrimination, are more susceptible to mental health problems. For you, what are your ways of protecting your mental health? What are the ways they have to protect their mental health? And what are the protective factors that promote resilience? So yes.
Okay. So what at least with what I do with my practice, and it's also backed by research, no, parang I always ask people that I met to break down the society, no, kasi diba society doesn't accept me, no, but there are also different kinds of society. Diba? Yung space mo with your friends is a society. Family is a society. Ateneo is a society. So with these different spaces, to where do you feel safe with? Diba? Take for example, Ateneo accepts you for who you are. That's a society. That is a society telling you, we accept you and that we see you. But there are also other society that rejects you for who you are. So, yun yung lagi kong ginagawa, no? Break it down. And then, once you map it out, different societies, no, and how you belong with those societies, now, you have to have a continuous effort to enrich those societies where you feel safe. No, that's why in the LGBT community, uso yung chosen family, no, na may or may not be aligned with their biological family, no. So for me, parang community is very important. No, always connect yourself with community that can support you. No, and another one that really helps a lot of people is engaging in advocacy activities. Kasi doon mo makikita na may nangyayari, may mga taong lumalaban para sa komunidad.
Yeah, so thanks for that, sir. So, we're gonna go sa academic setting naman. Since
Go ahead.
also, sir, meron siyang expertise sa gender studies. So, we want to ask question, what are some ways we can strengthen the community and foster a more inclusive environment?
Okay. First of all, talagang to do more research, no? Parang to tell the stories of people. Parang to put it out there. Kasi for me, once it's out there, andyan na yan forever eh. And if not research, no, kahit yung mga ganitong usapin, for me, kahit nga yung simpleng pag-post sa Facebook, ngari, like Ateneo Psyche, parang supporting LGBT community, for me, that's very important kasi now, it is part of the social discourse. It's there forever. No, so for me, important siya. No, so that's one, of course, no. Parang for me, also do research that support systemic changes that could also support changes in policies. No, not only maybe in this school, but also in the national discourse. No, kasi every time, parang I would talk to advocate people outside of Ateneo, and they would say that every time they try to push for changes, parang lagi silang hinahanapan din ng research, no. So for me, that's very important, no. And of course, research would take some time, no, to kasi alam mo yan, nagtithesis kayo, no.
For sure.
Parang in our own way, we can already do something, no. Babalik ako dun sa sinabi ko kanina. Again, you don't have to be like expert in anything as long as you relate with people with care and respect. Kahit wala pa tayong laws that could cover that habang naghihintay tayo, for me, that's already a very, very big help, no? And as a siguro lecturer or teacher, no, parang I would also parang encourage our fellow teachers, professors, only if you have the maybe openness to it, parang include some inclusive topics din. Hindi kailangan isang buong module, no? Nasa ano na, parang about LGBT. It's about during the first day of class, you would ask your students, no, how do you want me to refer you during participation? What are your pronouns? Kung math problem yan, example mo, si Juan bought 5 oranges with Pedro, parang ganyan. Just parang mga representation lang, as small as you can. Kasi those small things means the world for the LGBT people.
And that's what I also appreciate here in Ateneo. We don't have like dress code policy.
Yes.
Like it's very free to express whatever you want. You can wear pink kahit na, 'di ba? Like yung stigma kasi with colors then very ano siya, very parang radical in a sense na men should just wear this one, female should just wear like bright colors. But at the same time here in Ateneo, it's very inclusive, and I think sa mga other universities, and we are not imposing na
Yeah.
you should do it, guys. Pero I think it's one step forward for an inclusive environment to have everyone aligned
Yeah.
with like certain goal or
Yes.
certain mindset.
Yeah, I completely agree with that, and I think you look very beautiful today, Glenn.
Thank you. You also.
Oh,
And
thank
Sir
you.
Mibo also. We are all
Thank you.
beautiful, guys.
Yeah, and I agree. I'd hope, outside, even, in a classroom setting, at the very least, we can just like smile at each other and, not have these preconceptions take control. Because at the end of the day, everybody is complex and, everybody has a story to tell. And, they might just surprise you. A lot of people can surprise you. And that's what I really learned in university. And I'm really glad to be here in Ateneo for, just being embraced and embracing back. But, moving forward, how do you think our viewers can support the community? How can we embrace back, so to speak? And for those who share similar lived experiences, what messages would you like to leave them?
Yeah. Very psychology kasi yung mga sagot ko minsan, no? Kasi for me,
We love that.
yeah, kasi parang in psychology, we learn that we are not only thinking beings, we not only have cognitive things, no? Kasi 'di ba cognitive, we debate, ano ba yung totoo or like ganyan, no? But aside from being a cognitive being, we're also beings that feels emotion, that feels for others. So for me, siguro may may to the viewers, no? Parang having the courage to not only open our cognitive minds, but also having the courage to feel. Kasi kapag mind lang, magde-debate ka, ano ba yung totoo, ganyan. But hayaan mo din yung sarili mong makaramdam. Like for example, mararamdaman mo kapag nahihirapan yung isang tao, no? Mararamdaman mo kung nalulungkot yung isang tao. Mapifeel natin yan, especially tayong Filipino, no? So, parang kilalanin yung mga tao, hindi lamang dun sa maybe what we know logically, but also meet them where they are and allow ourselves to feel as we learn more about their stories. Kasi minsan, mas nakaka-connect tayo kapag hinahayaan natin yung sarili nating makaramdam. No? Na itong tao na to, hindi lang siya gay, hindi lang siya lesbian, trans. Itong tao na to, may pinagdadaanan. No? Parang courage to know the stories of other people.
Yeah. And one great lesson talaga is empathy,
Yes,
respect,
very
and care
important.
talaga. So I think we don't have enough time as much as we wanted to talk more about certain issues, the
Yeah.
protective layers, the mental health and all. But the rest of siguro what we can do talaga is to provide more discourse.
Yes, very
Things like
important.
this, very helpful siya towards community, towards debunking misconceptions, providing more research, talking about more research. Siguro what I can take away from that is yung sa Soji Bill,
Yes.
na we have to exist safely.
Yes.
Na Soji Bill are not just for a certain community.
Yes.
It actually serves kahit yung mga straight people, di ba, sir? Na parang it's a collective effort sa environment na magkaroon ng certain policy na magbe-benefit for all.
Yes.
So, yeah. So, would you like to add your insights or do you have a takeaway, Ash?
I think my biggest takeaway is that we really just need to be able to listen
Yes.
to each other more. I think we should be more open to conversations and not let at some point it really is a matter of feelings.
Yeah.
But we can't necessarily debunk everything at one go, but with this radio show, with just being an open-hearted person to maybe even the person you're sitting beside in class, it goes a long way. I myself, I have struggled, with my own identity and my own thoughts about myself. But,
Okay.
with university and with just the fact that, people are actually, more I wouldn't say everyone is a little queer, but I will say it's been a very interesting experience just being exposed to different characters from different provinces, and we kind of do walk a similar path.
Yes.
And I just really be happy, just to have more of these projects happen in any way, shape, or form, because the queer community, the LGBTQ community, it's very beautiful.
Yes, I
And
agree.
despite what the misconceptions are, a lot of us just want to go out and have coffee with each other.
That's
We're
true.
kind of very boring, actually. I'm very boring.
Not all people from the
Yeah.
LGBT community are full of colors as well.
Yeah, full of colors.
And some of them just, want to get jobs and start families
That's true.
too.
Yes.
I'm one of them. So yeah, thank you so much,
Of
Sir.
course. Thank you for
your
having
time,
me.
Sir Mibo. And thank you for joining us for today's episode of Wellness Wednesdays. Every week, we'll bring you stories, tips, and conversations that keep your mind, body, and spirit in check. Wellness that truly speaks to you.
Hope you can tune in again with us next Wednesday. For updates and replays of this episode, you can always check the social media accounts of Radyo Katipunan.
And this has been Wellness Wednesdays, wellness that speaks to you from the mind, body to the mic. See you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
We all want to live healthier in mind, body, and spirit. But where do we start? Sometimes all it takes is a good conversation. Tune in to Wellness Wednesdays on Radyo Katipunan 87.9 FM. Together with experts, inspiring guests, and real stories, we explore tips you can actually use. From managing stress, to eating better, to finding balance in a busy world. Because here, we believe wellness isn't just about living longer, it's about living better. So join us, and let's make every Wednesday a step toward your healthiest self. Wellness Wednesdays, wellness that speaks to you. From the body, mind, to mic. Every Wednesday on Radyo Katipunan 87.